Welcome to the Eutaw Street Banter podcast.
Welcome, everybody, to another episode here on the Eutaw Street Banter podcast. I'm Cody. With me, like always, is Elijah. What's up, buddy? How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Doing good. We have a random third person on our street. No, I'm just kidding. We have Gary joining us. He's from a Brit Does Baseball. He's on Instagram. Gary, you run a blog, correct? And
Yep.
We've been following it also. So love seeing all your interviews that you do. And I love how well you try to get away from your favorite team to like focus on other teams also. So that's awesome. But dude, Thank you so much for joining us, man.
Thank you so much for having me. Like I said, I'm still new to the podcast game, so I'll try my hardest.
Yeah, you're good. You're good. Right under you, we'll have your Instagram link, so people can go and see everything you do. And if you're listening to us on Apple Podcasts or Spotify, then you're just randomly hearing his voice. But you can clearly tell that he's not from the Baltimore area. But you will just go to our description page and you can see the link to go follow him. So everybody, just make sure you give him some love, follow him up. And the one great thing about a Brit Does Baseball is you'll get a little bit from pretty much all 30 teams around the league. So really a big fan of that. But we got some fun things to talk about today. But first, I think a lot of people probably listening to our podcast don't get to talk to a ton of people from across the pond. So we just wanted to get to know you a little bit. So if you would, before anything, can you tell us about your blog, how you started, and a little bit just about yourself?
Yeah, so my name's Gary, and like I said, thank you so much, Cody and Elijah, for having me. Started this blog in August, September, at the back end of last season. I'll give you a bit of more of a background. So I'm a baseball fan through all good stories for fandom, because someone else got me into the game. Essentially, my partner's from America, grew up in Chicago in the suburbs, massive Cubs fan. We'd been dating for about a year and a half, 2 years, and I wanted to find a new way to try and impress her. So naturally, I knew she was a Cubs fan and into baseball, so I thought, I'm gonna give baseball a chance. For me personally, I'm a rugby and a football, or we'll call it soccer just for argument's sake today. I'm a rugby and a soccer player, and they're both traditionally winter sports in the UK. So I was also after something that could tide me over in the summer. I could watch it, I'd have a reason to have a drink rather than just drinking for the sake of it. It worked out, timing wise was perfect. So I've been a fan of the Cubs now, going into my third season. Started in 2023, and literally just started we bought MLB TV, the subscription, which gives you obviously all the whole games for a really affordable price for how much you get on there. And we sat down and we watched the Cubs versus Brewers on opening day 2023. The Cubs won 4-0. Marcus Stroman was pitching well at that point in his career. Pitched a shutout along with a few bullpen people who are no longer with the team. Dansby Swanson had a really, really good debut for the Cubs. And we won 4-0. And, due to me being a fan of sports that have far less games involved, I turned to my partner and was like, oh, the Cubs are now going to go 162-0.
Right. Yeah.
But straight away, the idea was shot down. Never, ever going to happen. But I stayed true to the course till the very next game when the Brewers beat us. And we were 1-1. That unbeaten season, unfortunately, is a dream that died. So that's how I got into baseball, and I'm a Cubs fan predominantly because my partner has been a lifelong Cubs fan. I was aware of the 2016 World Series, the curse of the GOAT, the 100+ World Series drought. So I'd heard of that in the past, but that's how I got into baseball.
Yeah. You're the opposite of everybody else. Normally, people get married or start dating and it pulls them away from baseball.
He's saying that because he made his wife become an Orioles fan.
She hated the closest thing to the devil, and that's the Yankees. So we got rid of that. We changed that. That was something, that was in the vows. We had to make sure. But do you have a favorite player on the Cubs right now?
My favorite player on the Cubs, Yeah, I have a favorite player currently, but there's a player that really got me into the game.
Yeah. So, yeah, let me know. Yeah.
Yeah, favorite player at the moment, Shota Imanaga, without a shadow of a doubt. I think he was the underrated signing of the season,
Absolutely.
2024.
Mm-hmm.
You know, predicted to be a back-end starter at best. Really came in, lit up Wrigley Field in all of his performances. Just his energy, his passion for the game, the way he acts on the mound, and then also his "Go Cubs Go" song at the end of year player awards, which I thought was the most incredible thing of the season.
Absolutely.
Obviously the Cubs didn't get to the playoffs, so we'll take that as spring. So for me at the moment, it's Shota Imanaga, but the player that got me into the Cubs originally was actually Yan Gomes, the best Brazilian-born catcher to ever have played in Major League Baseball. For someone who looked like he was 50, despite the fact he was only 34, I just thought it was incredible the fact he could stay crouched down for that long in a position catching, and was also actually a really, really good hitter in 2023. 2024, totally different story. Just a little bit of regression there, but that he, you know, we used to call him Old Man Gomes when he used to run from home plate to first just on a walk, and we thought, oh, he's not going to get there in time, but lo and behold, he always did. So, yeah, those are kind of the two standout players for me.
He was a stud, though. Yeah, Yan Gomes was very good. I mean, I remember him, and I didn't even follow him closely at all. But I remember because at that time we didn't really have a great catcher, so we're like looking around trying to find people that would fit our team, and that was definitely a guy that like you said, he fell off a cliff. But that also has to go with the position that he's playing. Catcher's the most difficult position to play and stay productive. That's why you see a lot of the best catchers in baseball move to first base or DH. If you want to talk, Joe Mauer played first base for the Minnesota Twins. He was just got elected in the Hall of Fame a couple years ago. But one of the best catchers. And if you look at his years played at catcher, it's not that long. And it's such a demanding position and such a difficult, spot. Elijah, do you want to ask? I saw that you put a couple of questions there. So, Gary, I didn't warn you about these questions. This is a college student, Elijah, asking. So, So, good luck.
I came up with two of them. The one's a real easy one, and I haven't even thought about it for a while. But I actually saw. I'm assuming you're the one that runs the Instagram and everything for Brit Does Baseball, and I saw every once in a while that this particular jersey comes up, and I'm fascinated with how bad it is. I just want to know your thoughts on the World Baseball Classic jerseys for Great Britain.
I've been asked this a few times now. I don't want to be too negative because I've said this before. I don't want GB Baseball to be mad at me. It's quite. I'm trying to promote the game.
Yes, absolutely.
It did look like it was a Microsoft Word font, created by a 12-year-old at best. The colours were fine. It was just, the font itself was terrible. And it just seemed like they could have done a lot more with it. World Baseball Classic is as close to a World Cup as you're going to get in baseball. And they could have dane a lot more with it. So, not a huge fan. I'm hoping in the future they've taken all the criticism on board and they'll come out with, I'm sure they will, some much, much better fronted jerseys going forward.
Yeah, and then... what did you have to say, Cody?
No, I was just impressed with how well Great Britain did. I mean, if we want to talk about World Baseball Classic, that blew my mind because over here, it's sort of like, you have to think this at some point. It would be a USA rugby team goes over, or USA soccer team goes over, and we don't expect a ton from our end of what we're going to produce over in your neck of the woods. Now, the same came when you guys came over to Great Britain and you battled. I mean, it was pretty cool. I love the World Baseball Classic just because of that. That's one of my favorite things is the people that really surprise you.
Yeah, and for me, it's given good publicity to the game.
Yeah,
not many people were aware of Harry Ford before the tournament.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
catching prospects in the Mariners organization. And now people can't wait for him to hit the big leagues, whether that be this year or probably more than likely next year. And also one story which has come out was one of the interviews was with a pitcher called Ryan Long, who was actually in the Orioles organization last year. And he actually struck out Mike Trout.
Really?
Was,
nice.
A nice
Absolutely.
Nice little feather in the cap.
That would be the first thing in my bio.
Yeah.
so yeah. No, that's awesome. And that's cool. What else you got, Elijah?
Well, I was just going to ask, I know obviously you haven't been huge baseball fan for the longest time, but has there been, whether an Orioles player that's on the team right now or played last season or something like that, that's really stuck out to you?
Adley Rutschman.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think catchers that can hit and organise a pitching staff are few and far between. I think he's shown he can do both. I think the multi-hit games he was getting in his debut season, correct me if I'm wrong, 2023, or was he up before then?
Yeah, he came up 22, midway through the season.
22, but 20, but
23 is really
was
when he broke out.
Yeah.
You're good.
For me, I mean, there's only, I mean, I've got them. I mean, I don't want to spoil it for later, but I've got a couple of players sort of that I'll mention later who Adley Rutschman can reach that tier of, where catchers that can bat, they can coordinate pitching staff. I think you've got an incredible young team in the Orioles. I'd also give a shout out to Gunnar Henderson. Great leadoff batter, great name as well.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
Make magic happen with Emily at Blue Crab Travel, your Disney vacation expert. Ready to experience the wonder of Disney? Let her help you plan the ultimate Disney getaway. Whether you're heading to Disneyland, Walt Disney World, or a Disney cruise, she has you covered. Emily can take care of custom Disney itineraries, tailored to your family's needs and preferences. She also can help find you exclusive discounts on Disney hotels, tickets, and packages. Imagine a stress-free vacation with hassle-free booking for accommodations, dining reservations, and fast passes. From character meet and greets to thrilling rides, Emily will make sure every moment is unforgettable. Email Emily Jones today at emilyjones@bluecrabtravel.com to start planning your dream Disney vacation.
Oh, that's awesome. But yeah, so the fun thing we're doing today is we've done our top 15. We're ranking our top 15 hitters, and then we are also ranking our top 15 pitchers. This will most definitely be our most controversial episode because, God forbid, I don't put your favorite player in my top 15 just because he bats third on your favorite team. So I'm sure that's going to be something, but that's all good. It's all good fun because, I would probably disagree with somebody else's also. But so we're going to try to jump right in. The way we're going to do this today is we are going to do all three of us are going to give our 15 to 10, and then we're going to come back through, give our 10 to 5. Then we'll finish with our 5 to number 1.
And for those of you listening wondering how Cody possibly could have come up with those numbers, you can't get 10 twice and 5 twice. So really it's 15 to 11.
You're
10
right.
To,
You're right.
10 to
You're
6.
right.
I just,
Thank you.
Your wife's a math teacher. I have to make sure your math's right.
I appreciate that. Yes, thank you. Thank you. It was funny. I'm like reading it, trying not to say the players that I'm currently looking at. So, all right. So we'll go Elijah, Gary, and me, so that way people will forget and what I said, so they won't be mad at what I say. So Elijah, let's start us off. What you got for number 15 on our pitchers?
So we're starting off with pitchers.
Yeah, we'll start off with pitchers.
Actually I broke them down into even more subcategories. And my 15th player, he's in his own category, didn't have a fun name. It's called the Garrett Cole category. So I have Garrett Cole. It hurts for me to put a Yankees pitcher this high, but every season he's going to come and do good. I don't know if he's been worse than a top 15 pitcher over the past 7 seasons, 8 seasons, something like that. He's always consistent. He's locked down. He gets the strikeouts. He's the Yankees ace. And then my next 3, these are where I'll start getting some controversy. I have this called the Hunters, whether that's an occupation or name. So I'll start off with Grayson Rodriguez. I'm fully supporting my Orioles here, and this is just full of optimism because do I think currently he is the 14th best pitcher in the league? Not really, but I hope that by June I'm saying that confidently he is. He has the stuff to be great. He's been in our system for a while. He's finally came up, got 2 years under his belt, and he did better last year than the year before. If he can stay healthy, I think he can really sit atop the top of the Orioles young rotation, young/old, I guess, between the 35 and 40-year-olds and then the 20-year-olds.
Yeah, true.
It's a little bit of mix of both. And then I also have Hunter Green from the Reds, who he's electric. No, I don't think I've seen anyone else throw up on the mound and then continue to throw 100 miles an hour, but he can do that. And the Reds are going to be like 500. They're not going to be too much better than that, I don't think, this season, but he's going to get them 6-7 wins this year just because of who he is and the player that he's going to be this year. And I think me putting him at 13 is kind of limiting him. I think he could easily be a top 5 pitcher this year. And then I also have Hunter Brown of the Astros. he is the next iteration of Justin Verlander, as the Astros have been trying to boast him for a while. And it kind of seemed like last year he really started putting the pieces together. He struggled early on, but then really locked in as of late. And I think he's going to be a really, really good pitcher for them this season. And then to finish it off with my 11th, I'm going to do Logan Webb of the Giants. Now, I feel like he's always on the cusp of like a top 15, 20 pitcher every year, but I really like his stuff. The Giants look like they could be interesting this year, and it's going to be very interesting. He's going to be solid, but he's not going to go win you a Cy Young either. But that's my first 5.
All right, Gary, what do you have?
I've got slightly different. I don't have categories like Elijah.
No, don't worry, nobody does. Hey. No, literally nobody. Yeah,
my brain works differently than most people, so it's okay.
That is true. It's a lot different.
So number 15, which will probably be a bit of a shock, and I'm no doubt going to get a few stuff in the comments totally disagreeing with me, is being a Cubs fan, I have to include him. It's Javier Assad. Reason for that is one of the first games I ever watched, he was coming out of the bullpen and he was terrible. Like, he was god awful. And this is coming after he performed so well in the 2023 World Baseball Classic for Mexico. But he got sent down to AAA. He worked on his stuff, came back up as a swingman, and then something just clicked in the first half of 2024. You know, he's got a 4 or 5 pitch mix. I think his ERA was something around 3.4, 3.5 for the season. And he's a very good, young, controllable back-end starter. And I hope, even despite the fact we've made some good starting pitching signings in the offseason, I hope he is in that rotation going forward. And also, you may have noticed, I am wearing a Cubs jersey.
Nice.
And on the back of it, just I had to include him.
Oh, nice. Yes.
Yes.
Right.
So,
I love that. That's awesome.
That's need to bring him in as my 15th. I've got no doubt that people will disagree with me.
Yeah, I wonder I wonder if he knows that somebody that's living over near London is wearing his jersey right now. That's
I've got Javier Assad and a Jan Gomes jersey, so it's all players to have.
Man, that's a lot of respect. I can give you. I mean, it'd be easier to go get a Javi Baez jersey. You know what I mean? But
thankfully a little bit before my time. So I mean, based on what he's like at the moment for Detroit.
Yeah, that's true.
I'll quickly skim through the next few. So at 14, I've got Ryan Helsley, relief pitcher with 49 saves for the Cardinals. As much as I shouldn't really put a Cardinal player in here, you've got to respect the fact he led the league in saves last year. And even though the Cardinals probably won't be as competitive this year, he's still a good option to have in their bullpen for those close games. He did muck up against the Cubs once this year, from what I remember. I think there was a little blooper just into centre field, which led to, I think it was Mike Tauchman running it off or walking off. So
Mike Tauchman.
Potentially. At 13, I've got Chris Sale. I appreciate he had an incredible 2024 season, winning the Cy Young. I just think there'll be some progression there.
Yeah.
I think Spencer Strider is probably the true ace of the Braves, especially after Max Frieder's now left. And I think someone like Spencer Swellenbach coming through, I think Chris Sale injuries might catch up to him. I hate to be proven wrong. Do not wish injury on a single player, but that's where I feel there might be some regression. At 12, I've got Roki Sasaki for the Dodgers. Complete unknown, complete wild card. Just think, knowing the Dodgers' luck, he'll be the best pitcher in the world. In the next 2 years. Probably shouldn't have had him in the top 15, but I like to just keep it a little bit unique. And at 11, I've got Dylan Cease for the Padres.
Good pick.
From all that I've seen, he had 224 strikeouts last year for a sub 3.5 ERA. He just looks like he's got that velocity.
Yeah.
And one more, the Cubs have been linked with him in the off season. Would I give up a few prospects for him? 1 year of Dylan Cease? Possibly. I think he could be the game changer and get you into the playoffs. So those are my 15 to 11.
No, and I love the Dylan Cease because Oriole fans are having for that also. So just to give you a heads up. So no, I do realize one thing is my list is totally different yours, because you've already put some people that I have in different places, and but that's awesome. That's what it's all about. My 15, number 15 is a guy that I think's gonna come back and be one of the best closers in all of baseball, and that's King Felix Bautista. I think I'm putting him as number 15 because he has to prove to me he can do it again. When he was closing baseballs, he was the one or two and the best in baseball. A lot of my relief pitchers, just give you a heads up, are at the bottom of mine because in my opinion, this is just me, is I'm giving the starters my top end of this. So you'll see. My number 14 is Mason Miller, who I think is the future of of Major League Baseball as the best closer. He's amazing. He has electric stuff, and his accuracy is off the hook. So Mason Miller was second among strikeouts among closers, and with 104 last season. And my number 13 is the guy that led the league in closers strikeouts with 105, only one more, and that's Josh Hader, our ex-Oriole. The Orioles traded him away a few years back before he was Josh Hader. Just give you a heads up. So Josh Hader. My number 12 is Emmanuel Clase, who probably is currently the best closer in baseball. I'm not giving it to Devin Williams. He has to prove to me he can do it in the American League and playing in a little league ballpark at Yankee Stadium with the fences are like 287. Elijah, be quiet.
No. I was going to agree. I was just going to say that the NL Central offenses are, I would have to say, a little bit weaker than the AL East offenses because the AL East is more evenly spread out. The NL Central has a few stragglers there at the bottom, such as the Pirates.
Yeah. Where the AL East, we don't really have any. The Rays, I guess, but then the Rays get the players.
They always find a way to win.
Yeah. But and then my number 11 is Logan Gilbert of the Mariners. He led the league in WHIP with a .89. It's kind of hard because I'm old school. I like to look at wins still. I'm a typical baseball player where just wins means a lot to me. I know to new baseball fans it's not a big deal, and I get it. Or the statistic people, I get it. So, but Logan Gilbert doesn't have a lot of wins because of the reason Elijah would say his team stunk. His team didn't hit for him. So a lot of Mariners wins happened at the end of ball games, not from inning 1 to 5. So if you watch many Mariners games, they didn't score more than 3 runs many times. So that is my top, my back end. Sorry. Elijah, you want to run through? Starting
I'll
at your
get 10 through 6, but I also, while you guys were both going, realized that I don't have a single reliever on my list.
That's okay.
This is just, for me, think of it as a starting pitcher ranking.
Yeah. Well, it's just making it so people can't yell at any of us because we probably somewhere have their favorite player. Like one
Probably,
of us.
exactly.
One of us have. Yeah.
And right. I will say, Cody, great minds must think alike because at my number 10, I have Logan Gilbert.
Oh, nice.
So we're one away. And for
looking at my
all
paper.
The reasons you say, I will say this, I definitely didn't look at your paper. I think I may have had this list done for about a month and a half now.
Yeah.
Like this, I'm just lucky that no one that I wrote down got hurt or something, so I didn't have to try to change it.
Yeah.
But I have Logan Gilbert for pretty much every reason you said. I mean, led the league in games started and innings pitched and WHIP. He's really good. If the Mariners could just get an average offense, they could run the American League.
Yeah.
It's honestly, I feel very bad for their fans because they have such good potential. They just they won't get offense.
Yeah.
And then I'll move on. So number 9, I have Blake Snell. And I'm gonna say that Cody either forgot him or has him at number 9. But Blake Snell, he's gonna be average for the first half, and then better than Randy Johnson for the second half. And that's how he is somehow every year. He just decides to get really, really good there at the end. And now he's on the Dodgers, and they're going to win 120 games this year somehow with him. And it makes me wish that I would have loved Blake Snell in an Orioles jersey, but he's going to be good this year. And then I also have Shane McClanahan at number 8.
Good pick.
Who's, I'm afraid he has a lot of injury history, but when he's healthy, he is amazing. Really good, and he has potential to win the Cy Young when he's healthy. It's just I remember 2023 when he had 4 games I think against the Orioles that he pitched, and I felt like we couldn't even make contact off of him. It was ridiculous. He's really good. Number 7, I have Zach Wheeler. He's the same every year. I think he currently has some of the highest odds to win Cy Young in the National League right now. And I feel like for him, he's always like a top 3 pitcher. He's just never number 1. And that's why I have him down at 7. And then moving on for my number 6, I have Cole Reagans. And he's one, I think if he stays healthy and he performs, if the Royals actually can keep up and progress instead of regressing, he has a shot at a Cy Young this year. He has really good stuff. He killed the Orioles in the playoffs. And he's an interesting one to watch. I think he could very well be a Jacob deGrom-esque pitcher where if he's healthy, he is one of the best in the game. But and I'll hand it over to you, Gary, now for yours.
Yeah, I just want to caveat this entire picture list by saying I forgot that the Philadelphia Phillies were a team. So I do not have Aaron Nola. Sorry, Philadelphia. This is being recorded the day after Super Bowl, so hopefully we'll celebrate.
As where we're from, Philadelphia is the evil empire of this area. So the Super Bowl was the worst day ever for us. And so we don't mind. You're fine. You're fine.
Okay. I can see you guys.
Just kidding.
But I will caveat by saying Zach Wheeler, probably looking back at my list, should have been in the top 5.
It's okay.
Pretend they don't exist. So at 10, I've gone for Mason Miller, sort of the babyface gunslinger.
Absolutely.
Former Oakland Athletics. I think a defining moment in his career will be that final save at the Coliseum where he sort of went like that under the oak. Well, people that pointed underneath the equivalent of the Oakland sign on the jersey, even though I'm currently wearing a Chicago one. For me, I think that's someone who no one was expecting really to, he was a former starter turned into a reliever. No one was expecting him to reach 100 miles per hour every pitch. But he was lights out for a lot of, especially the first half of the season.
Absolutely.
And one of probably 2 bright spots in that entire season for Oakland. The other one we'll get onto at some point, I'm sure. At number 9, I've got Garrett Cole. Playoff performance withstanding. As much as it's funny, sort of him pointing at Rizzo to cover first base in that Dodgers World Series game, you have to you have to acknowledge he is the ace of that Yankees team. Has been for a couple of years. I think the stats are a little bit skewed by the fact he plays at the Bronx a fair bit, a more traditionally hitter-friendly park. And for me, I'm not a Yankees fan at all. I'm probably one of the teams I dislike the most. But I've got to recognise that he is a real talent there. At number 8, I've actually got a new Yankee. I've got Max Fried, signed from the Braves in the year. Been the best Braves pitcher for years, and I just think he will take that mantle from Garrett Cole. A 3.25 ERA last season for a Braves team that didn't really perform up to expectations. That I've sort of got in middle of the pack for that reason. Number 7 is another bit of a wild card. I've gone for Sandy Alcantara.
Ooh, that's good.
Obviously missed last year with Tommy John surgery. Cy Young winner 22, I want to say 23, one of those years.
I'm not sure. I think it was. Yeah, I should know that.
I think he's won a Cy Young from what
he has definitely.
I know he's won it. I don't remember. I think it might have been 22.
He just plays for the Marlins, so it's hard to keep up with.
Yeah, it's down there in Miami. There.
Sorry.
And I mean, I don't know what they're doing down in Miami other than killing their pitchers, but I think he'll have a comeback year. I don't think the Marlins will finish above 500, but I think he could be a real trade piece at the deadline for a team that's on the cusp.
Absolutely.
And for number 6, I've gone for Emmanuel Clase. In my notes, I've got he's been classed for years. Goes with the name a little bit. 47 saves, 0.61 ERA. The reason I've got him so high up, he is my highest reliever. I don't think there's a better reliever in the game at the moment. When the Guardians played the Cubs last year in Cleveland, he came out and pitched in day 1 and saved the game for them. He then came out and pitched in game 2, and we had JD and Boogs on commentary for game 3 saying, there's no way we'll see Emmanuel Clase tonight. Yeah, he came out in game 3 and shut us out there again. So, bit of a tormentor for the Cubs last year, but he's my number 6.
Yeah, Emmanuel Clase, I agree with you. He was the top relief pitcher in my category, too. We're on the exact same page there. All right. So number 10, is just like Elijah. Elijah's one up from me though. Or my number 10 is Blake Snell. Blake Snell is just consistent. I give a lot of respect on my list to consistency. So I don't give a lot of love to a guy that was just good for 1 year. That's why you probably won't see my list be the same as like Elijah's, for instance. So Blake Snell is my number 9. Tarek Skubal is my number 8. That's because you got to be better than one season, a season and a half. Shut up, Elijah. So that's how I feel. I want to see him do it again. If he does it again, then I'm wrong. So we'll see. I'm nervous about his mechanics. I don't think they're very repeatable. When you see any major league pitcher that has a mechanic setup that is hard to repeat, they have their longevity is definitely tested. Your argument would be Chris Sale, because Chris Sale's mechanics is very hard to repeat, and he's been great for forever. So that would be the one that stands out to me. I'm sure there's 10,000 that don't, but that's the only reason. That's the only reason he's so well. My next guy as my number 7 is Chris Sale. Chris Sale. The only reason he's not higher is because he's like 72 years old, but he's still amazing. I thought that signing with the Braves was great for them last year just because I'm a back-end starter for him. And I was wrong. I wasn't wrong that the signing was great. I was wrong in saying he was a back-end starter because he jumped their 2 best pitchers and became their ace, which was just incredible. So, yes, Chris Sale is my number 7. And my number 6 is who I think will be number 1 next season, and that is Paul Skeens. I think Paul Skeens is one of the future bright spots of baseball. I think he's going to get a lot of young eyes, like a lot of like kids that don't watch baseball that much yet will definitely love to watch him. And, when people watch the Super Bowl, they were looking for Taylor Swift. So when they watch Paul Skeens, they'll be looking for, Olivia Dunn, I think the name is, right? So yeah, I'm trying to stay with the young crowd here. So yeah. I was happy I got her name.
And that's why I was waiting for him to be done too, because he called Chris Sale 72, and I'm pretty sure Chris Sale's only like a year older than you.
Yeah.
So I don't know if you want to be throwing around that old
What's
stuff.
What's your number 5, Elijah?
I know you're trying to stay good with the hip kids. Is that what you think they're called now?
I'm hip, man. But that's very cringy. Sorry.
But so for my number 5, I have a former Oriole that I wish we re-signed, Corbin Burns.
Yeah.
And I've struggled putting him this low, but at the same time, he's been a top 5 pitcher basically in MLB for the past 3-4 years now. It's hard to put him any higher, but any lower at the same time. He's going to be good with the Diamondbacks. I think he may regress a little bit, but once he comes into his own, they're gonna get what they signed. And then moving on to number 4, I have Dylan Cease. I think he's gonna be even better this year. He's going into free agency. I think he should get traded. I would assume I don't know what the Padres front office is doing right now. They are a little dysfunctional. The whole Sedler family thing is really a struggle for them, and I feel for all their fans. But I hope that gets the Orioles Dylan Cease in the process somehow. I would love him, I know. I just don't want to give up Jackson Holliday for him. I know that's what they're probably going to ask from us. But he's going to be very good this season. And then, so my number 3 is someone that you both kind of bashed on for his age and his health, is Chris Sale. And now I have him at number 3 because in my head, I see it playing out that this is his last season on top. I don't think he's going to win the Cy Young, but I think he's found something that works in Atlanta, and it's going to click for one more season before it really gets to him. I think he's going to try to push, keep getting some more strikeouts. If he has another good season, I think he could be a Hall of Famer. And I think he really needs this season to come through, and I hope that pushes him enough to get up there. And then my 1 and 2 would be the people, if I was a betting man, that I would put money on to win Cy Young in their respective leagues. It's Tarek Skubal as number 2, and then Paul Skeens number 1. And I'll kind of talk about them both at the same time because I think they're a little bit similar in the fact that they're young. Cody discredits that they had one season, 1.5. Well, Tarek Skubal, I think, showed some of the best stuff of any pitcher last year. He's dominant. I know people thought I was crazy when halfway through the season last year, I was wanting us to trade for him, give away Jackson Holliday. And I know people think that's crazy to give up Jackson Holliday. I think Tarek Skubal has potential to be a Hall of Famer. He's an ace for many years to come as long as something doesn't derail his career. And I I'm going to enjoy watching him. I have no problems against Detroit, so I can root for him at least. And then same with Paul Skeens. If you hear any scout talk about him, that he had the best stuff coming out of college almost ever. And like, I know Roki Sasaki, of course, he just signed with the Dodgers this offseason. People were saying, well, how does he rank up against some of the best rookie and prospect pitchers of all time? And they were comparing him to Paul Skeens and saying he doesn't even compare to Paul Skeens. Like Skeens, his stuff, his fastball. I feel bad for Pittsburgh because he's going to be there just about until he gets too expensive, and then he's gone because they won't. I just saw something that the last multi-year contract they gave out to was Ivan Nova. So, I mean, that's crazy.
Wow.
Ivan Nova, I haven't heard that name in 10 years, but
Right.
Paul Skeens, he is electric, and I'm going to love watching him win the Cy Young this year. Over to you, Gary.
Yeah, just on, because Corbin Burns isn't on my list as a spoiler. What do you think about his movement to Diamondbacks? Sort of, it caught me by shock, and I know plenty of people that I was speaking to were like, where did they come from?
I think it makes sense. He's from Arizona. So and the one thing I feel like people don't look into a lot with free agency is he had twins this past season. So it's kind of looking into where's he. This is a move that's going to take him into retirement probably. He'll have a few more years after this deal's done, but if he does the Kershaw route and just sign a couple one-year deals with them, I could see him riding off in the sunset in the Arizona desert. I don't think the Orioles were really ever serious about signing him just because we don't want to spend any money at all. I mean, our owner just came out the other day and said that he thinks there should be a salary cap because he doesn't want teams spending money. Whereas maybe if he just spent more money, that would help us all. But I know I'm going to miss him. I really enjoyed watching him.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, just intrigued to hear your thoughts of it. I think when you then look into it and you say, he's from Arizona and he's got the opportunity to go play with the club that he, from that state, even if he gets 2-3 years out of him, I just hope it doesn't turn into a Jordan Montgomery.
Oh, yeah,
absolutely. Yeah.
Promise, and you end up having the owner wanting to get you out. But moving swiftly on. So at my number 5, I've got Garrett Crochet.
Oh, good.
I've kind of on the Elijah route of they had a really good 2024 season, haven't got too much historic knowledge of pitchers in general, so kind of replicated that, and you'll see that in my top 5. I think he was sneaky good. He got a lot of plaudits for being the gem on a god-awful White Sox team, and I think the Red Sox acquiring him, that could be the trade of the winner.
Yeah.
If he can, put him in with Carter Crawford and Tanner Houck, that could be a really, really strong Red Sox rotation. And if I was in the AL East, I'd be looking at them three thinking, we've got a bit of a problem here.
Oh, we are.
We
are. Yeah.
Yeah, very, very strong division. That's my number 5. At number 4, I've gone with Logan Gilbert. Interestingly, he led innings pitched with 208.2. I've got written down. That's great for such a young starter. I had a conversation with a Mariners fan a couple of weeks ago, and it was the case that any one of the Mariners rotation, I can't remember all their names off by heart, but Logan Gilbert kind of being the ace. The point being, he could slot into most other teams' rotations and be a number 1 or 2 guy. And a sub 3.5 ERA, I think it was 3.23 across all those innings pitched. Yeah, if he had a better Mariners offense, they would run away with the AL West. I'd like to see Haddad fare up against the East clubs. But I've got him at number 4 because I just think, you're that consistent over a length of time pitch for me, should get you in the top 5. Number 3, again, going to be a bit selfish for the Cubs. It's Shota Imanaga. Before we had a great first debut year, in the great rookie year. If it wasn't for a certain Pirates pitcher, potentially the rookie of the year in the National League.
I agree.
Unfortunately, Skeens decided to come back from the army and decided to dominate the Cubs a few times. As I've already said, his personality is electric.
Yeah.
It's infectious. You watch him on the mound, his celebrations when a strike doesn't go his way. It's all very respectful, but you can just see he's having fun out there. And these are the pitches that I most want to see next year. Imanaga, I think there might be some regression. I might be completely wrong, but I just love him as a player. I've actually got the same as Elijah for numbers 2 and 1. I've got Tarek Skubal in at the 2. I think he'll win another Cy Young this year in the American League. I think he'll go back to back. Watching him against the Astros in the playoffs, tore that team apart. I mean, it was beautiful to see with all the Astro haters out there. But I just think he he's got the opportunity in Detroit to do something special over there. He'll be the ace for as long as he wants to be.
Yeah.
And as soon as he hits free agency, you could be looking at a record deal for a pitcher. And then number one, unfortunately, I've got Paul Skeens. Made his debut against the Cubs, absolutely tore us apart. Then played again against the Cubs 2 weeks later because whenever the Pirates and the Cubs played, of course, Skeens had to be pitching. I mean, he finished with a 13-3 record, which for the Pirates is phenomenal. I didn't even think they had 13 wins. 1.96 ERA across those performances as well. Again, I agree with Elijah. He will be there for as long as he wants to be. Based on how the Pirates operate, I don't think he'll be there long term.
Yeah.
But again, him and it'll be interesting to see him and Scooble, who will kind of take that next tier up in the stars. And yeah, that's my top five.
Awesome. All right. So, obviously, we're not going to have the same top two because you've both already said mine. My number 5 is somebody that I think people have forgotten that he's going to come back this year and be one of the best starting pitchers in baseball, and that's Shohei Ohtani. I think Ohtani's going to come back this season. I think he's going to dominate. He can give up 5 runs a game. They're going to score 10. He's going to win. Yeah, I think he's one of the better pitchers. I don't think he's the top pitcher, but I think he's my number 5. And then number 4 is a guy that's just been good forever, and that's Logan Webb. Logan Webb's my number 4. He's a stud. I think the only thing that you can knock on Logan Webb is that he plays for the Giants, so he doesn't get the same love that if you played for the Red Sox right now, that's all you would hear is Logan Webb. If you played for the Yankees or the Mets or the Dodgers, you'd hear about him. But he's kind of overshadowed playing for the Giants. It's a little harder there to get your name out. Not that you can't, but definitely. My number 3 is because I truly think this guy is, Gary, if you ever get a chance to watch the Yankees play, I think this is the guy you want to see to say that you've seen a future Hall of Famer. And I think that's Garrett Cole. Garrett Cole, to me, is one of the top pitchers of our generation. I think he's amazing. I love everything about him except for the name on his on the front of his jersey, because most of the time he doesn't have a name on the back of his jersey because the Yankees don't do that. So Garrett Cole is my number 3. Now, Elijah, you had a great argument earlier where his inconsistencies past 3 years, and I completely agree with you. If you gave me any pitcher that pitched for the Yankees to play us in a 1-game playoff game, if there's anybody I don't want to face, is Garrett Cole. And that's just how I feel. But yeah, so my number 2 is Corbin Burns. I think if you can win games in Baltimore and the AL East, that you can win games anywhere. So I mean, my gosh, my man went through a whole season and he goes into the playoff game and pitches the best game of the year, throws 8 innings, went into the 9th, but just what else can you do? He deserves all the money he got. And, if he worked his butt off to choose which team out of 30 teams, he could literally pick any team he wanted to play for. He picked his team, which that's fine. I would, you can knock a player for going to do the Juan Soto thing, where he just chose $10 million more to go to the arch rival team. Whereas Corbin Burns took less money to be with his family. I have a hard time yelling at him about that. I actually gain a lot of respect for him being family first. And my number 1, Zach Wheeler. I think this is the best pitcher in baseball currently. It's a shame he pitches for the Phillies because they get him and they get a Super Bowl. So both of those suck. No, but Zach Wheeler, amazing story, comes from the Mets where he just had a hard time getting it all together. And comes through, dominates. I'll jump in real quick on my just missed on my list. Devin Williams just missed on mine. I want to see how he does this year. I do think he's one of the better closers. I just had a hard time putting him past some of my starting pitchers. Ryan Helsley had an amazing season last year with the Cardinals. He is also a closer. Looking at stats, he should be on my list. Personal preference. I have nothing against him, nothing against the Cardinals. I just had a hard time. Cole Ragans. I think Cole Ragans will be on my list next year. I think he's a future superstar pitcher. Amazing pitcher, amazing stuff. He's electric. And then another guy that if I had 16 people, he would definitely be there is Dylan Cease. I need a better season out of Dylan Cease, unlike last year. In my opinion, I just it seems to be a toxic atmosphere in San Diego. I mean, you had Juan Soto struggle in San Diego. He leaves, he becomes best player, one of the better players again, and now same with Dylan Cease. But other than that, but any argument would be great. So those 4 could definitely be on this list and replace somebody else. I get that. So I'm not knocking that. What do you got, Elijah, on your just missed?
So I have Garrett Crochet and Tyler Glass now.
Yeah, that's good.
I'm
Garrett
pairing those
Crochet.
two together.
Yeah.
Garrett Crochet I wanted to put on there, but like I know with what you guys said about Chris Sale is that he's gonna get hurt. So boy, I feel like Crochet, the wheels, like the lug nuts have already been taken off and they're like almost falling off. I just feel like it's coming any day. I mean, the White Sox, with how dysfunctional they are as an organization, even they knew it. They were limiting his innings as much as possible, just trying to get him shipped out of there before he got hurt. And then same with Tyler Glass. Now he's going to pitch half a season, be great, and then be gone for the rest of it because that's every season of his career so far. And then the one that would have been my number, like you said, number 16, if I'm being realistic, if I took off like a Hunter Brown or a Grayson Rodriguez or something, is Shoto Imanaga.
Oh, yeah.
He's really good.
Yeah.
He's going to be really good
this year. It was
this
funny
year.
when I was looking at going through some stats and everything. He's in everything. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like he's in the top at least 8 in every stat. So I did show a little disrespect towards him. Like I'm glad, Gary, that you put him in there because he deserves it. Absolutely deserves it. And it's funny if you take if Paul Skeens doesn't come in the league, he's a household name. It's Paul Skeens kind of took his thunder. You know what I mean? And but completely love Shoto Imanaga. But yeah. Who do you got, Gary? Do you have any just missed ones?
Yeah, so outside the whole Philadelphia Phillies debacle, which we've already commented on, which is pretty bad of me. Hunter Green that was mentioned. I think he goes under the radar playing for that Reds team.
I agree.
The man who's thrown up multiple times on the mound now, and then proceeds to pitch straight after throwing up on the side. Might want to wipe the ball down with wipe or something. But anyway, he's really, really good. Another Cub I'm going to put on there who I think has been underrated the last 2 years, especially Justin Steele.
Oh,
I think he goes under the radar. 2023 a little bit was on the radar. 2024 obviously had the injury against the Rangers, and then when he came back, you had Imanaga taking all the plaudits. You had Paul Skeens in the division. You had Hunter Green. Criminally underrated. I'm hoping 2025 he stays healthy and show people what he can do with about. I think he just has 2 pitches.
Yeah,
it's either one or the other, and he does well with it. The other person I've got who we haven't mentioned is Seth Lugo for the Royals, who I think had a really underrated and under the radar season. Got a 3-year extension in the off season. For me, I did a deep dive on him a few months ago and was just like, I probably should have put him in. But those are my 3 that just missed out.
Yeah, I think the only thing that hurt Seth Lugo is his history, right? Like, I mean, if you didn't remember like some of the struggles he went through, if he was a rookie, you'd be like, oh, here he comes. We got another superstar coming through the league. And that's not saying he's not going to be great. That's not at all. But that's the only thing kind of stopping probably that respect. He does it again this year, and then he's going to have it. Running to our top 15 batters, Elijah, I'll go ahead and start this one. We'll run our way backwards this time, if that's okay with you, Gary.
That's fine.
This one was hard for me because it was hard to get my personal favorites out of this. My number 15 is on one of my least favorite teams, and that is the Toronto Blue Jays. The only reason, Gary, that Orioles fans usually don't like the Blue Jays is they're the ones that throw beer cans and stuff at our players in the playoff games. Oh, okay. So it's kind of like that. Yeah, that's kind of the issue. We can frown upon, but my number 15 is Vladimir Guerrero Jr. He had, believe it or not, he had a kind of a quiet season last year. He crushed it. He is second in average in the majors with a 323 and third in hits with 199 hits. He's my number 15. My number 14, if we did just the hitting aspect, he would be higher, but this is not just batters, this is position players. So you have to, in my mind, I want you to field a little bit. So this is why he's so low, is Yordan Alvarez. I feel like Yordan Alvarez is one of the best hitters in baseball when he's in this batter's box. But he can't play right field. He has probably struggles DH and walking up the steps to get to the batter's box. But when he hits the ball, goes a long way. I'd hate to face him. If it's a tie game in extra innings, I do not want to see him on the bat. Number 13 is Matt Olson. Best thing he ever did was get out of the Oakland A's system. But yeah, now he's playing on a great great Atlanta Braves. Number 12 is a guy that had a renaissance last year, and that is Francisco Lindor. Francisco Lindor was never bad ever, right? And when he was on the Indians / I don't think he ever played for the Guardians. I think it was the Indians. He was the best shortstop in baseball for years. And either he stayed the same or we've just had so many other great shortstops come up to like fill that spot up a little bit. So I might be showing him a little bit of disrespect there. But Francisco Lindor is my number 12. It's still great shortstop. Amazing shortstop. And my number 11, I can't believe this guy is so low, but is Bryce Harper. Because in my mind, I wanted to put him way higher. Gary, he plays for the Philadelphia Phillies. No, I'm kidding. I'm just kidding. I'm messing with you, dude. Sorry.
If he's a positional player, it's fine.
No. I was like, I gotta say it. No. So Gary, what do you got, buddy?
On a complete side note, I don't actually have any Philadelphia Phillies on the position side, but that's not because I thought they existed as a team. I just didn't.
Yeah, sure.
Just to clarify that one.
That's fine.
At 15, I've got Luis Arias. Not many people can go to bed at night every day in your career and go, yeah, I've got a batting average higher than 300.
Yep.
This is more on the hitting side than fielding. I'm now looking at this list thinking,
oh, you're fine.
There are some terrible fielders, but it's pure on hitting.
You're good.
200 hits in 2024. You want a guy to make contact. Great leadoff guy. If he gets on base, follow up with some power, boom, you've got two, 3 runs in the first inning. At number 14, I've got Michael Toglia for the Colorado Rockies, the first baseman. 25 home runs in 2024 in a really hitter-friendly park, being Coors Field. I think he's got the potential to break out, and I'm really excited to see what he can do. Especially with, I think, Chris Bryant is now probably going to end up being a DH most days, because he can't obviously keep healthy for more than 2 games in the field.
Mm-hmm.
Him to really lock down that first base position for the Rockies and hit some dingers. I think he could finish with more than 30. At number 13, I've got the one-man army, who I've labelled him as Ketel Marte for the Diamondbacks.
Love it.
36 home runs, 95 RBIs. Really unlucky to miss out on the playoffs this year. Were the Diamondbacks, with obviously the Mets and the Braves playoffs implications at the end. But he was the main reason why they were in that conversation to begin with. Maybe Corbin at Carroll towards the end of the year, but Ketel Marte all the way through was carrying that offense.
Absolutely.
At number 12, I've got Juan Soto. 41 home runs, but for me, the key one is the walking stat. I know he's led the league in walks in at least 2 or 3 of the last 5 or 6 seasons. 129 walks, which was second highest this year. Again, the guy gets on base, the guy can hit for power. Is that skewed a bit because he plays for the Yankees? Probably, but the stats speak for themselves. There's power there, there's patience there, and that's what you want in a hitter. And at my number 11, I've got Jarron Duran for the Boston Red Sox. Not obviously advocating his choice of slurs or use of slurs in the season, just want to clarify that. But he finished up with 48 doubles, 14 triples, which was league leading, and 34 stolen bases. Again, you want a person that can get on base. Played really as well in such a weird stadium being Fenway Park. Hence why it's all many people may not be aware about how good he was offensively. And those are my 15 to 11.
Yeah, I definitely have very different lists than you guys. I also share the same thing with Gary, that I have no Phillies on here. So it's definitely an interesting one. But I'll start off with number 15. I put Mike Trout. And I know he is hurt like all the time, but if he's healthy, he is still one of the best players on the planet. He doesn't quite have the contact skills he used to have when he was younger, but I think over the past, if you take the past couple seasons and add up the games together, if you get a full season's worth, it's like 45 home runs with still a near 300 batting average. I mean, he still crushes the ball. I'm hoping this year he can really put it together and be a little bit more healthy, because I think it's good for baseball when Mike Trout's being Mike Trout.
Yep.
And then, so number 14 for me is Ketel Marte. He's been year in, year out, one of the best second basemen, probably the best second baseman in baseball. And I think he's finished top 3 in MVP twice out of the past 3 years now or something like that. He's just really consistent, really good, and the anchor in that Diamondbacks lineup. And then So for 13, I have Mookie Betts just because he has to be on here somewhere. I feel like he's good at everything. He's one of those people that makes you mad at how good he is at everything. Because not only, yeah, sure, Gold Glove right fielder. Okay, now he's gonna play second base. Oh, he's our opening day shortstop now for the best team maybe ever assembled. So, and he's also like one of the best bowlers in the world. He's a super great guy. It's like I can't even hate on him. He's good at everything. So he's on here at 13. And then number 12, I have Yordan Alvarez. Same thing like Cody said. He's one of the best pure hitters in the game. He's got a great lefty swing. There's not much more to it. He's got the power. He doesn't play defense at all, and that's a good thing for him because he looks terrible in the field. But from pure batting standpoint, he's amazing. And then number 11, another guy I hope that can really stay healthy is Corey Seager.
Yeah.
I think when he's healthy, he's one of the ones that, like Cody was saying, with all the shortstops that are coming up, when you have Gunnar, Ellie De La Cruz, Lindor, Bobby Witt Jr., you might forget about Seager, but he's still, 2 World Series MVPs. Last year when he was healthy, if he had stayed healthy at the pace he was at last year, he would have been the AL MVP because he was better than Judge and Witt. But yeah, that's my first 5.
All right, Gary, we're about to make your day here. My first Cub in either of my lists, and
Let's
is
go.
number 10, Kyle Tucker, who I think is one of the best outfielders in all of baseball. You got yourself a winner there, dude. You didn't give up. I mean, as an Orioles fan, I'm looking at our lineup, but I think we could have got him. You know what I mean? But that obviously, but no, seriously, that was a great pickup by you guys. He's my number 10. He's one of the best sluggers in all of baseball. My number 9 is Freddie Freeman. Freddie Freeman, his clutch factor is crazy. I mean, my man just, when you need a hit, you need a home run, you want Freddie Freeman off the bat. Number 8 is Corey Seager. Elijah, that was everything you said. I'm right there with you. I think, when I watch him, I'm a 90s kid. So Orioles were my favorite team. My favorite player is Cal Ripken. Corey Seager reminds me so much of the pop and the contact mix. Obviously, Cal was right-handed, but I mean, both, you just don't know whether the guy's going to get a double, hit a home run, or make a crazy, amazing play at shortstop. So, Corey Seager is my number 8. Number 7, I feel like I'm disrespecting this guy because I think he's too low on my list. But he'll probably be number 1 next year, is Bobby Witt Jr. Bobby Witt Jr. is my number 7. I think he is the future superstar of baseball. And my number 6 goes right with him. I only put this guy here because the hat I'm wearing, because if I didn't, we would get unsubscribed by most of our people. And that's Gunnar Henderson. Gunnar Henderson is my number 6. I think Gunnar Henderson, if he could have not slumped in the last month and a half of the season, he was staying right with Bobby Witt, if not a little above Bobby Witt all year. But if you're a Royals fan, I got to give your dude a lot of credit because he didn't slump. My man was on fire all year. We were at the playoff game where he beat us, and you knew when he came up to bat he was going to beat us. And as an Orioles fan, when Gunnar Henderson came up in the last out of the playoffs, I knew he was going to strike out. But anyway, so Gunnar Henderson is my number 6. I think my top 7 could be interchanged, but with anybody. I'll be honest with you. So, what you got, Gary?
Yeah, I mean, you guys are probably going to hate me, and then in a couple of players' time, hopefully you'll love me again. My number 10 is Vladimir Guerrero Jr. 44 doubles, 30 home runs, 72 walks, which I didn't think he walked that much. Carried that Blue Jays, I don't want to say offense because it wasn't really an offense, but carried the Blue Jays' hopes and dreams. And I think it'll be a real shame for Toronto if he leaves, and I think it's looking more than likely. At number 9, you're going to love me even better after this. At number 9, I've got Anthony Santander.
Yeah.
41 home runs for the Orioles, playing right field. You guys will comment average defense, a little bit less than average.
I'd say average. Average is strong. Yeah,
he'll make a flashy play like once every other week.
Yeah, but that good term. Average defense, yes.
Yeah. I know he's now gone to the Blue Jays, which probably means you guys will hate me again. But
no, you're good.
41 home runs isn't anything to not be taken into account. I think on this list, he's the one that really went under the radar.
Yes.
Not many people thought of Anthony Santander when you go, who were the top hitters last year? Oh, Judge, Otani.
Yeah.
Santander's got plus 40 and not many people do. At number 8, I've gone for Gunnar Henderson, mainly for the start of the season. I think if he'd have carried on at the pace he was going, he would be in my top 3, arguably maybe number 2. I think it's rare that you have a shortstop that can bat that well, and he's also the leadoff man. Similar equivalent to my Luis Arias argument. You have a guy that gets on base, great, someone else can drive him in. If you've got a guy that can get you a run off the bat, well, you're even better. And the amount of first inning home runs, leadoff home runs I saw him score in the first, especially 2 months of the year, was honestly astounding. At number 7, I've got Big Dumper from the Seattle Mariners. I've got Cal Raleigh. The hardest position other than a pitcher, although I'm going to be proven wrong at some point because no doubt someone will be on everyone's list in top 5. Other than pitcher, I think the hardest position to have a great bat is catcher. And he was amazing. 100 RBIs, and he managed that Mariners rotation, who I would argue, man for man, are probably the best in the American League. Can't think of anyone. Maybe this year the Dodgers will surpass that, but he managed he managed the pitching staff and still made phenomenal offense. And at my number 6, I've got Brent Rooker for the Oakland Athletics. Really happy for him that he's going to finally get paid. And had his struggles throughout his career and really came into his own in 2023. 2024, 39 home runs last season as an Oakland Athletic. Sacramento, or whatever they're going by next year, I think it's just the Athletics.
Yeah, it just is.
Find it a bit weird that the owner is now paying his players, but that's another argument for another day. But Brent Rooker, I think, again, went under the radar. That's my
wasn't the
10
A's
through
getting
6.
ready? The A's were getting ready to get sued by the other 29
MLB,
teams.
No,
Or
I think
MLB?
it was the MLBPA.
Oh, was it?
It was like the Players Association because I know they were spending like nothing.
Yeah, because all the teams have to put money in a pot from your media. I guess that has to go to something like that can't be pocketed, and they couldn't prove that it wasn't being pocketed. So there's a lot more into that. So obviously don't write and put Cody on that. So, but a lot more into that. But they had to make a couple signings. That's why you saw it. But all right, my number 5. Yeah, my number 5.
Cody?
What?
I haven't said my 10 through 6 yet.
Oh man,
you skipped me.
I can just hit a button and you disappear. No.
Oh wow.
I'm
wow.
kidding. All right, let me
hear
people
Elijah. Come here for me, not you.
Oh my God. All right, go ahead, Elijah.
Okay, so I have my number 10, who is probably one of the most fun players just to watch in general. It's Elly De La Cruz. He struggled last year with his strikeouts, but there's something that I really love base stealers, like good old Billy Hamilton. I really love watching him. Just D. Gordon, those really speedy guys, and those are the speedy guys that can barely hit. Well, Elly De La Cruz, he could put up 40 home runs this season, and I wouldn't be too surprised. He has the potential for that. If he could get his defense a little bit better and limit the strikeouts, I think he's up there with some of the best shortstops in the league, and that's why I have him ranked here. I think he's really going to take the next step up this year and even further improve his game. Then for number 9, I have Fernando Tatis Jr. I know he had the whole steroids and everything, but I feel like he's still one of the best outfielders now, not a shortstop anymore, when healthy and when playing. And then I have my number 8 is a Cub, Kyle Tucker. For all the reasons Cody said, he is amazing. He very well could have been like a top 3.
Yeah.
I love his game. For what you guys gave out for him, I think it was a great trade. And then number 7, I have Jose Ramirez. He is constantly underrated. He is probably the best third baseman. Yeah, he's easily the best third baseman in baseball. And I would have to say probably seconds, maybe like a Rafael Devers. And I don't even think it's close. He was very close to a 40-40 season last year. He's a switch hitter. He kind of do it all. And he can box. So, that's a plus. If you're putting together a hockey team of baseball players, he's there. He's your bruiser.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah.
And then moving on for number 6, I have Francisco Lindor, who it felt wrong putting him this low after the season he just had, but my top 5 is stacked.
Yeah, I felt the same way, Elijah. I mean, I understand that I have Francisco Lindor very low, but I couldn't put him above Bobby Witt. Like I was just,
Yeah.
and then I didn't want to look like I just only look at shortstops. So it's pretty tough. The shortstop position by itself could be in the top 5, you know. So
Yeah.
but yeah. So my number 5 is a guy that I disliked very much last season because of who he is. But anyway, it's Juan Soto. My number 5 is Juan Soto. I hate every time he comes up to bat, I feel like something good is going to happen for him just because he does well. Because Gary's absolutely right, though, because you can't just try to pitch around him and make him chase a pitch because he watches very well, and the umpires know he watches very well. So when you have respect from the umpires, your strike zone can be a little tighter, it seems. It's sort of like LeBron James goes up for a layup and somebody gets near him, it's a foul. So when Juan Soto's up, if it's on a corner and Juan Soto takes it, the umpire's going to probably trust Juan Soto's eyes even better than his own because of his background, because he can show how well it is. So Juan Soto is my number 5, one of the best hitters in baseball, let's be honest. It stinks that he went to where careers die, and that's a mess. Anyway, Jose Ramirez is my number 4. This is the best third baseman in all of baseball, in my opinion. He is just a stud, one of the best batters I've seen all around. My number 3 is one of the best athletes in all of baseball, and that's Mookie Betts. Mookie Betts can play any position. He can bat in any part of the lineup, and he'll hit a bomb. He's one of those guys, I feel like if I was walking down the street, like Gary, we live near the beach, okay? So if we're walking down the boardwalk, other than him looking a lot better than me, he would look like a normal dude. Like he's not oversized. He uses his body perfectly to get the best results. And I know this shouldn't be a part of it. He's a great dude. Like I feel like you could go out and like have a meal with Mookie Betts and it'd feel normal. My number 2 is the one of the saving graces of baseball, and that's Shohei Ohtani. I say that because he has helped baseball so much around the globe on getting people to come back to our sport and to watch and gain a little bit of respect on the social media side. Shohei Ohtani, second in home runs last year with 58, second in RBIs with 130, and the crazy one, second in stolen bases with 59, because my man does not look like he steals bases, but he's quick, really quick. My number 1 is the best hitter in all of baseball. He's on the worst team in all of baseball. And that's Aaron Judge of the New York Yankees. He was 3rd in the majors with batting average with a 322. 1st in home runs, obviously, because he's Aaron Judge. 1st in OBP. 1st in RBI. I can hate the Yankees, but I love Aaron Judge. He conducts himself in an amazing manner. Very respectful. Great. If I had a son, which I don't have 2 daughters, if I had a son and I wanted him to watch how a person acts, it would be Aaron Judge. And that's about the biggest, most respectful thing I can say about any athlete. I don't care truly about how good of a baseball player or athlete you are. If you're a terrible person, I would never say that about you. So Aaron Judge is my number 1. It'd be hard to top him. Gary, what do you got, bud?
I mean, similar to you in many ways. At number 5, I did have Tim Anderson, but someone knocked him off the list. I've got Jose Ramirez.
Jose Ramirez.
As already been mentioned, 1 home run off a 40-40 season.
Mm-hmm.
Best third baseman. Maybe the only other one potentially defensively is Matt Chapman. But then he's not these crazy numbers.
Mm-hmm.
Severely underrated. Does not look like he'd be very fast when you look at him.
I agree.
But he mows around the bases.
I agree.
Like, he's little pudgy fella, but does the home very, very quickly. At number 4, Elijah's mentioned him. I've got Mike Trout. I think best pure hitter in baseball, if healthy. Massive big if. Hopefully he just comes back and plays DH for the Angels. I think if he does that, he could get 50 home runs very, very easily.
Yeah.
And give the Angels a bit. The AL West to me is very wide open every year. Yeah. I think if the Angels, they've made some signings. I don't, they signed Carl Hendricks. I don't know why, but they've made some signings. So they go in for it. But I think if Mike Trout's healthy, he's the best pure hitter in all of baseball. My number 3 is Bobby Witt Jr. Similar to the Gardner Henderson remarks, I just think Bobby Witt Jr. was more consistent for the whole season.
Absolutely.
Highest batting average in the league at 3.32, 32 home runs, 109 RBIs. Again, really, really fast, but unlike Ramirez, does look like he'll be quite fast. And plays stellar defense as well for that Royals middle infield. And again, the Royals, I think, were one of the underrated teams last year. And he was a massive part of that. At number 2, I've gone for Aaron Judge. Led the league in home runs. The captain, not Derek Jeter, but I know it's the captain of the Yankees.
Yep.
I'll be careful using that language. For me, is one of his. I think the real underrated moment of the season was dropping that fly ball to the Dodgers.
Yeah.
Very, very funny. But
Yeah,
I've never worked out as one of the best pure hitters in all of baseball. Can't really knock him. He hasn't done anything wrong. Just kind of got to sit back and respect the stats. My number 1 is Shohei Ohtani. The stolen bases, the home runs, the RBIs, the fact that he had Tommy John surgery and still doing all of it. Next year will be a big year for him.
Yeah, absolutely.
I'm intrigued to see if the offense takes a step back.
Yeah.
If it does, obviously Judge will. You could see Ohtani. He'll still be in the top 15, but he'd probably be just outside the top 10. But after the year he's had, there couldn't be anyone else that was number 1 for me.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I mean, he's great. That's really all there is to say about it. It's kind of crazy. I wish he was an Oriole.
Why just gonna be like number 5, Ryan Mountcastle?
Yeah. Is it? I really like Gary Sanchez this year.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
But number 5, I'm gonna put a guy. Cody summed it up perfectly, exactly how I feel about him. It's Juan Soto. There's just something about a person that as soon as they put on the pinstripes, the Yankee jersey, they just like get knocked down so many pegs in my mind. And like I agree. Aaron Judge is at least like, he's a really great person. There's no sign that Juan Soto isn't a great person. I just felt like he got more annoying on the Yankees.
Yeah.
The Nationals, he was perfectly fine. And then it just more was like, I tolerated him on the Padres. And then on the Yankees, I just didn't want to see him. But I can't deny he's good.
So personally, he is not even in your 15.
No. Top 15 personalities, he's not.
Right, okay.
But and then so number 4, which I felt like it was crazy that I put him this low, is Aaron Judge. Which it was hard for me to put him that low just because of how good he is. And I respect him a lot as a person, like Cody, and like you said, I mean, he's a great guy. It was super nice of him as the captain really to take the lead and to drop that ball in the World Series so that he could take the brunt of the insults from people and not the rest of his team. But I mean, if you're talking just bat, he's the best.
Yeah.
He's one of the best right-handed hitters of all time, in my opinion.
Yeah.
And number 3, I have Gunnar Henderson. Like Cody said, I'm an Orioles fan, so I have to put him high. I don't believe he's the best shortstop in baseball. Don't believe he's going to win AL MVP, but I think he's going to be close, really close. I think he could put up over 40 home runs this year. Gets his defense really down a lock. He could be really good. He's hopefully going to lead us to a World Series this year, at least the playoffs. But I love watching him. He's my favorite player to watch currently. Number 2, I have Shohei Ohtani. I don't even know what else to say other than you guys, what you said about him, because I feel like everyone kind of knows what it is. I mean, he's at this point where I'm going to put him at 1 or 2 on my list every year until he proves me wrong and does bad. Because he's gotten statistically better in every way, every season of his career, which is insane to say because it gets more improbable every year.
Yeah.
But this year he'll be the first to ever win the Cy Young, and then the MVP, not just because of pitching, but also because of hitting. He might be the first one to ever have a triple crown in pitching and hitting in the same season. Like, that's the type of potential he has.
That's crazy.
And the only reason I have him at number 2 is because Bobby Witt Jr., I think, is probably the best player in baseball currently, which is crazy for me to say with a league that has Aaron Judge and Shohei Ohtani in it. But Bobby Witt Jr., what he does with the bat, with the defense, with his base running, I think Bobby Witt Jr., I'd go ahead and say now that he's going to be a Hall of Famer. Like, as long as something crazy doesn't happen, he's going to be the best shortstop and one of the best players for 15 more years. And now I'll make this comparison just because I hope this could work out in the long run. I think we're in a golden age of shortstops, kind of like maybe the early 2000s, late 90s and stuff. And maybe I'll compare Gunnar Henderson and Bobby Witt Jr. to like a Derek Jeter and A-Rod, kind of how they had that rivalry. And I'm only saying that because, well, A-Rod got the Yankees eventually got him, so maybe the Orioles can get Bobby Witt Jr. and we can pair those two up.
That's good.
That's just full hopefulness.
Yeah.
But
yeah.
I can go ahead and run through some of my people that got left out.
Perfect.
And my first one's Marcus Semien, which is an interesting one only because he didn't do great last year, so that means he's going to get third in MVP this year. If you look at his stats, every other season for the past 6 seasons, I believe he got third in MVP. So he's due for it this season. I don't know why or how, but just trust me, he's going to get it somehow. And then guys like Vladimir Guerrero Jr., Bryce Harper. One that I actually really tried to fit on here, but I just couldn't, was Brent Rooker.
Mm-hmm.
He had a really good offensive season last year, and I really like him. He's a bright spot, and the A's are looking better. I would love to see them make a run somehow this year. The ownership doesn't deserve it, but the fans do.
Yeah. Gary, who do you got that just missed your list?
Freddie Freeman.
Yeah.
The World Series clutch home runs.
Yeah.
It's amazing when you listen to your guys' list, for example, and there's I don't have Freddie Freeman, I don't have Mookie Betts, and it's you look at listing all these players, I'm like, didn't even think of them.
Oh yeah.
But I think Dodgers, I think Ohtani.
Yeah.
And you had Freeman and Betts all around him.
Yeah.
I think it's interesting that you could interchange Bobby Witt, Aaron Judge, and Shohei Ohtani, and then
I agree.
Depending on what you wanted. You want a two-way player, Ohtani. If you want pure power, Judge. If you want stellar defense and great ginger hair, Bobby Witt Jr.
There you go.
But those of you that can't see, I am ginger.
No, you're. That's awesome.
The other player I had that might be a bit of a shock is Julio Rodriguez for the Mariners. I think second half of the year after Cervais was fired, really Edgar Martinez, I believe, really picked up that offense for the Mariners, and it was never going to be enough to make a run at the Astros by the end. But that's a player that I had that just missed off. And I'll give a shout out to a Cub, as I haven't had any. Ian Happ made me very happy, to get the pun, with his offense this year. He was. I think he's always had a good defense, and this year he found his bat, career high in home runs, if I remember, career high in RBIs. Putting him on there because it's a Cub, but very easily could have probably knocked off Luis Ariz, because Ariz is a bit more boring.
Yeah, absolutely. On my just missed, I also had Julio Rodriguez, and which felt crazy because in my opinion, I think he's still part of the future of baseball. I do. I think he's going to be amazing. I hope he is, because baseball could use somebody like him, the sport of baseball. And then my other one, which feels weird that he was on here, because if he was still an Oriole, I bet you he would be in the top 10, is Manny Machado. So it feels really weird not to have him, one of the best defensive third basemen in baseball. Still a great hitter. It just tells you kind of how tight the 15 is. If there's 20, it's a lot easier. I say that, but then we'd have a just miss list too. So, and then my other one was Ketel Marte. I think I showed disrespect towards him only because of the position. It's the second base position is just a weak position right now, and and that doesn't mean he's not great. It's just I'm telling you, my brain. That's how my brain worked there. I think Ketel Marte is the best second baseman in baseball. He is the best second baseman. But yeah, that's my list there. I think the one good part about all of our lists is we were we had a variety of names thrown out. So that's pretty great. So not everybody can get mad, you know what I mean? So out of the 15, I think we had probably 20 to 25 different names. But I think the one that Gary, you hit me with the most that I forgot about was Brent Rooker. I did like what a great season he had. While you were speaking, I'm looking at his stats. I'm like, daggone, like he had a great season. I think, like as a lot of people, I think where he's playing hurt his reputation a little bit.
I think that's one other one I want to give a shout out to is Jake Berger for the Marlins.
Mm-hmm.
Second half of the season was keeping pace with Aaron Judge on home runs.
Yeah,
I think sometimes the team you play for can really, no one was really caring about the Marlins results probably past middle of April.
Yeah.
So for him to finish with the amount of home runs he got, and good on him for getting a move to the Rangers.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, that's good. And the only thing that got him was he got hurt right at the beginning of the season last season, and then he came in because he had a good 2023 campaign end of the year going into the 2024, and I really thought he was going to be somebody. I know me and Elijah play in a fantasy baseball league, so I drafted him because of what he was projected to have, and he got hurt in very early. I want to say the first week, but don't hold me to that. But yeah, so that's that's another great one there. But yeah, I mean, hey Gary, I wanted to ask you real quick. So I didn't talk about this at the beginning, right?
Yeah.
But you're from London, am I right there?
Yes.
Okay. So have you ever been to a Major League Baseball game?
Yes, so when the Cubs and Cardinals came over in 2023 for the London series, I went to both games there. So they were my first MLB games. And then I've got some family in Chicago, and we also went to Boston for
nice.
I think it's a wedding party. So I've been to Wrigley Field and Fenway Park. So as far as ticking off the stadiums go, I've done the two most historic, and then also West Ham's football stadium. For those of you that don't know about soccer, Spurs and West Ham fans hate each other, so that was a bit of a mixed bag, but great atmosphere.
Yeah. I screwed this up because I have that shirt from that game in London because Elijah's dad and mom went to that game.
Yeah, they were at one of the games.
Went to the St. Louis and the Cubs, and we learned there that maybe this isn't true, okay, but they got me a shirt there. And y'all's shirt sizes are way smaller than they are here in America because I had to actually send it back and get I have a 2X shirt, and I do not wear a 2X. I'm like put it on, like holy crap. But yeah, that they actually went to that game, and they thought that was really, really neat. Elijah's been to almost every stadium.
26.
Right?
Yeah, 26 of the 30.
Somehow
Wrigley.
We were going to Wrigley in 2020. We had tickets and everything, and then COVID
came, so that kind of ruined that one. But I think Wrigley. I don't know if it's just the Cubs and Orioles don't really play. In the past, hadn't played each other that much before. Obviously, the way the schedules now shifted, and I haven't been to Kansas City just because. There's really no other reason to ever go to Kansas City, so it's kind of hard to get out there. Oakland, which I'll never go to that one. I am kind of sad about that. Never gone to Oakland. And then I haven't been to San Francisco.
Yeah, that looks beautiful. When you go there, I'm gonna hitch a ride.
Okay, so you're paying for my tickets and stuff.
No, I said hitch a ride. Yeah.
But
well, awesome, Gary. Thank you so much for joining us. I hope you have fun. We'll definitely get with you again. If you ever get the chance to go to an Orioles game, let us know. We'll hitch a ride with you. We'll meet you there and show you around the city of Baltimore, because trust me, you'll want somebody to show you around, to tell you where not to.
You don't want to wander around by yourself.
We got you. We'll help you out. But thank you so much for joining us, dude. You did great. I think your list was very respectable. It really was.
Yeah.
You never know when you have a list. Actually, I worried more about Elijah than I did you, Gary. I'll be honest with you.
I'm still surprised I'm the only one that pulled out Hunter Brown.
Yeah, that's a good though. You were good. So anyway, thank you everybody for watching us here on the Eutaw Street Banter and listening to us. Be sure to follow Gary on a Brit Does Baseball on Instagram. Is that the only one you're on, Gary? I just want to make sure. Are you on any other?
Yeah, only one. We've got the blog, which the link is in the Instagram account.
Absolutely. Yep.
That's different.
Yep. No problem. And yes, and then on their Instagram account, they have their blog link for you to click on. Highly suggest it. I've been reading it. It's legit. I like reading your reviews there of as your 2024 reviews, and then like always, give us a like, follow, and we're on X, we're on Instagram, Facebook. And if you're on YouTube, please subscribe and give us a thumbs up. But until next time, guys, thank you so much for listening to us once again. Have a great rest of your week. See you guys.
See ya.